Good morning, everybody. Just need a drink. Welcome to another Sunday Live where we do a 20-question mock test and a has perception demonstration. If you guys got any questions whatsoever about your theory test, let me just turn that down in the background. About your theory tests or driving lessons, driving tests, any driving related issues, ask away. But please put a Q semicolon in the comment section. It just makes it a lot easier for me to find. That way, and I'll get people saying, could you answer my question? Because I haven't seen it. That's the reason why it gets mixed up with comments. So hopefully you've had a good week and a good weekend so far. So my headphones are just really playing around with me at the moment. And enjoying the half decent weather. It wasn't too bad this weekend up here. A little bit chilly, but at least it wasn't raining. Let me just get my comment section up and I can see the comments. Where are you going to pop up? All right. So, let's go to this one. It's a bit big. Why is that big? There's really good morning to you. Hopefully you're well. Let's make that the right size. Does it make a difference how many tech checks you do before going live? It still goes wrong. So I don't know why I bother. Anyway, Desrina, good morning to you. Hopefully you are well. Fresh Faith. I don't think I've seen your name before, but welcome to you. Fabulous. Don't think I've seen your name before, so good morning to you and welcome to the channel. Michelle, good morning to you and welcome. A couple of new faces there, I think, or silent watchers, one of the two. Right, what I want to do is just go straight into the overview. I never assume that you guys know how the theory test works, and the reason why I say that, I get so many emails every single week, literally every week. I took my theory test, blah, 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 and it wasn't what I expected, blah, 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 or I didn't study before. I don't know why you're booking a test and haven't studied, or they're starting to study. The test is literally around the corner and they have no idea how it works. And they're asking for my help, literally lastminute.com. I can't help you last minute over email, especially when you haven't told me what's wrong. The amount of emails I get, I need help. Literally, that's it. Or text messages, WhatsApp messages, I need help. With what? The questions, has perception, everything, particular category. You need to be a bit more proactive with your messages coming on Mind Reader. But anyway, let me just quickly do this. Stacey, good morning to you. Again, I don't think I've seen your name before. Fitter Freak, I don't think I've seen you before, so good morning, welcome. These are all new faces that I'm seeing, so welcome to the channel, by the way. Mary. All right. Are you saying you've done it this Friday? I'm assuming you meant you've done it Friday rather than this Friday coming 49 out of 50. If that's the case, 49 out of 50, missed magical 50 by 1. So congratulations, because that's a really high score on the real test. 61 out of 75 is a good score. No problem, you are welcome. Francis, good morning to you again. How are you? And hopefully things are going well for you, especially with the driving. Nana, good morning to you. Maybe I have. Sorry. If I have, I've totally apologized because it's all in different names and obviously all the names coming through in the comment section. So I apologize. But welcome back anyway. And you've been a silent member since last December as well. So if that's the case, last December, we're now in May, which is what, 5 months. Have you taken the test and passed it, or keeping the knowledge up to date, or are you still working towards it? And if that's the case, why taking 5 months? You got to take it at some point. Good morning, Diego. Congratulations on passing. And thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that. Yeah, I know that a lot of one of your students, Michelle Mitchell's is my name. You're one of the students in the study camp. I'm assuming if that's the... Let me know if you're one of the students in the study camp, if that's what you mean, one of my students. Because then you haven't come to one of the live sessions yet. That's the reason why I'm unaware of you. Last Friday, past Friday, good Wednesday, Nero. Yes, I do remember the longest name, so you definitely shortened it. Which you failed it, 41, 9 questions wrong, and 60. Has perceptions fine. Stop memorizing. I've got a video coming out soon on that, because I'm seeing it so much in the study camp that you guys need to be aware of how the apps are working. The apps are actually messing you up by doing mock test after mock test, but that video's coming out. When it comes out, I suggest you guys watch it, because what I'm realizing, especially from the comments and the emails, that you guys are passing mock tests but failing the real test. There's a reason behind that, and you guys don't realize that it's an app that's messing you up. And I've got the live data from the study camp students as well. They're doing the same thing. Good morning to you. I've not seen your name before, so welcome. You guys, go Z. You are welcome. Oh, you said you passed, but you put 51 on the previous, sorry, 41 or 42 on the previous one. Just confirm, Nero, did you pass, yes or no? Because your last message suggests that you failed the questions. Yeah, you said you got 41 multiple choice. And you're saying here you passed. We'll put it back, 41, 50. If you got 50 out of 50, well done. That's a high score. Obviously, the high score you can get. But what I mean by that is to go on the real test and perform and get maximum is really, really good. And 68 on the has perception is brilliant. Patience, good morning. Yeah, study camp. That's interesting. And you signed up as, let me just write this down. Well, I'm assuming either you have not, you definitely haven't turned up to one of the live sessions, review sessions. Let me just get your name so I can keep track of you. What did you say you signed up as, Mitchell? We have a live session today. You're live on YouTube, so hopefully you got nothing going on. Turn up to the live session. It's at 1 o'clock, and I can go into your Theory Test Pro account if you've logged on that, and start to give you some feedback on your studying and get you going, basically. Because like I said, I've not seen your name in any of the sessions or the live sessions that we do Monday to Thursday. But yeah, join the live session today if you can, and let's have a proper chat. All right, let me do the quick review, because I did that about 5 minutes ago. And the reason why I want to do this, I'll do this every week anyway, but like I said, I still get messages on students, booking tests, don't know how the theory test works, booking tests, don't know where to start to study. That astounds me that you guys are booking tests and have no idea what your next step is. You should be studying first, knowing how it all goes, knowing where your baseline is at least, and then booking tests if necessary. But anyway, let's just get rid of this. Multiple choice, 50 questions. They're random questions. So even this, I keep saying this every week, 10 of you in the room, there's 10 different set of 50 questions. It's not the same test for everybody. It's literally random. If you didn't know, the 50 questions are made up of 14 categories. Your theory test is based on 14 different categories. That's why I always say study the categories individually so you are exposed to every question. Like I said earlier on, you guys are doing mock test after mock test, which is not the best way to study. It's the wrong way now, based on how the apps and the algorithm and the apps are going. But that's another story altogether. And the questions on the apps are sampled questions. They are not the real questions. I will say that again. The questions on the apps are sampled questions. They are not the real questions. So when you go for the real test, they are going to be worded slightly differently. And there will be questions that you have never seen before. But they're still looking for the same type of answer, which is safety control, which you'll see later on. Time, you've got 57 minutes, which is more than enough time to break it down. What I'm getting as well with emails, taking the real test, failed it. When I asked the question, how long did you take to take the test? 20 minutes, 22 minutes, 25 minutes. To do it in 25 minutes on the test, that's different questions, worded differently, and get a positive outcome is slim. You should be breaking the questions down, breaking the answers down, looking for clues in the questions and looking for clues in the answers. If you're doing it the right way, then it's not going to take you 20 minutes. I can't even do a test in 20 minutes and get 50 out of 50 anyway. I've got dyslexia, so it makes it a little bit more difficult for me. But the point I'm making is I would have to break it down. It takes me longer than 20 minutes to be doing that, and I do this every single week. Once you've done that, you go on to hazard perception. Hazard perception is 14 videos. 13 of them have single hazards. One of them's got a double hazard, score 2 5s. You need 44 out of 75. I should have said it on the first slide. With the multiple choice question, you need 43 out of 50. You should be aiming for 50, but you need 43 out of 50. Hazard perception is 44 out of 75. Your average score when you finish has to be 3 or more. If it's less than 3, it's going to be a fail. What you're looking for in terms of answers, use a bit of common sense. All answers you don't need to know the answer to or take driving lessons. You can use a bit of common sense with it. And if it's not a common sense answer, then they're definitely looking for safety, because the driving test is based on safety, or they're looking for a controlled outcome, which is normally your motorways and your first aid questions. If you do struggle with your theory test, I do run a study camp. As much as it's got 30-day study camp, the 30 days is a sweet spot for studying. Once you start to go longer than 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, if you're studying on a regular basis, I'm talking about, you start to memorize the questions, you start to memorize the answers, not deliberately, but because you've seen it so often, that's how the brain works. It is possible to study for 60 days, 90 days, because life gets in the way. You're not studying on a regular basis, just study in between. But the sweet spot for regular studying is 30 days. You should be looking to take and book and take your theory test within the 30 days and hopefully pass it as well. But I will add, just because you go longer, it doesn't mean to say you're wrong. Everybody's different. But what I'm saying is, if you study on a regular basis and you go over the 30-day mark, you start to see the same questions, same answers. It becomes a memorizing exercise, not an understanding exercise. I will also add, if you live in the Luton and surrounding areas, I do driving lessons, so you can get the complete package as well. So obviously I'll be your driving instructor and we do the theory and all the rest of it. And I'll get you past your theory and I'll get you past your driving test as well. All right, so let me just go back to this. Patience, good morning to you. Well, I've done that one, I think. Peter. This is what I'm talking about here. This is a prime example with Peter. I got 30 out of 50. Most of the questions I receive are new to me, and I got 38. I'll be watching UV4 book again. This is not necessarily because the questions are new, because like I said, the answer, it doesn't make a difference what the question is. The answer is still going to be a safe option, if that makes sense. So it's about understanding. But like I said, the apps mess you up with that if you're doing mock test after mock test. But I will have to film that video and get it out as soon as possible so you guys can understand the logic behind that. But let me just go back. Sorry, let me go back to Peter because I didn't give him advice on that. 12 questions wrong. You don't say what you got in hazard perception. So I'm assuming you passed hazard perception. You're happy with that. But 12 questions wrong. That's a lack of knowledge, lack of understanding as well. So I will start with the categories that you got wrong, and then try to work out the understanding behind each question and the understanding behind the answers. I will also add what you guys, not all of you, what some of you are doing And again, this is the wrong way of studying. When you do the questions on the app, you get the question wrong. You go and look at the answer that's correct. The apps give you kind of the basic explanation behind, not the understanding. It just gives you the basic explanation behind it, and then you move on. That's not the way to study. What you should be doing is read the question, go to the wrong answer you picked, and try to work out why you picked it in that moment. Sometimes it's misreading it because you've done it too quick, or you try to do tests in between lunch breaks on the bus, whatever it happens to be. There's a reason behind why you picked the answer. The reason why you want to learn and understand why you picked the wrong answer, so the brain don't make the same mistake twice. The brain works from mistakes. So you learn why you picked the answer, and then you go look at the right answer, understand why the answer is correct, and that's how learning takes place. Too many of you reading question, right answer, move on, but you don't understand why the answer was wrong. So when it's worded differently, guess what the result is? Pick the wrong answer again. Let the brain learn from mistakes by learning why and understanding why. I think I've done that one. Oh no, I didn't. Failed multiple choice question, but I'm taking the test again in June 16th next month. Like I said, learn from mistakes, so hopefully you do that. Good morning, Christian, Victor, good morning. Yeah, passed it, okay, because you put 41, I think, on the first comment you made. Good morning to you. That's not something I recommend. It worked for you, failed on Saturday, booked on Thursday. I'd always suggest getting a lot of practice in between the each test, but it worked for you. I'm not going to say the Sunday Live to help you with that. I've got your name down on my post-it note in front of me, so what I'll do is after this session I'll go into the students and see where you're at, but I've not seen you in the live sessions, so that's the reason why I'm not sure who you are. Hopefully you've done a mock test, because when you sign up you are told to do a 50 question mock test in Theory Test Pro, and that gives me the chance to see where your baseline understanding is, and then I can set you straight on how to progress from that. So hopefully you've done that. If not, and you can, without rushing, before 1 o'clock, do a mock test in there. And like I said, if you're going to come to today's session at 1, I can give you live feedback on that. And I will also add, I go live Monday to Thursday. When I say live, studying. So we do a study session every Monday to Thursday on different categories, breaking it down. So if you can attend to that 5 till 7, do it as well. But it is recorded, so if you can't make it because of work or whatever, then you can watch the recordings. But turn up today and I'll give you proper feedback on it, how to use the training material. Pass my test Monday. So you are welcome. Thank you for coming to live. Let me know. All right, let me start the mock tests. And I'll go through the comments, because there's so many of them there. Good morning to you, first of all, Evita. I think that's right. All right, so let's do share screen would help. Screen share. Right, so on the road where trams operate, which vehicles would be most at risk from tram rails? Question 1, so please put the question number. If you think it's A, put 1A. I say this every week. There's a delay between me and YouTube and you and YouTube. So when I show the answer, I like to make sure we all are on the same question number, because I can't go back with this app that I'm using. For these questions, I can go back on the 50 question ones, but not on the 20 question ones. Joining for the first time, welcome. Pass on the 6, 47 out of 53, short of 50, 6175. No problem, you are welcome. Thank you for coming. first time and let me know that you pass. I appreciate that. If you're still here, let me know what you're going to do next, driving lessons or driving test. My fourth time taking my exam, I got 34, 16 questions wrong. If you got 34 on your fourth attempt, there's a serious lack of knowledge. That's not understanding, there's a lack of knowledge with that, because you shouldn't be getting 34 on your fourth attempt. So there's an underlying issue that you have to tackle, because obviously I don't know you, I don't know what the issue is, but you should not be getting 34 on your fourth attempt. People take the average to pass the theory test. So I'm just realised something's wrong on my screen. The average to pass the theory test is 3.5. I don't know where they got the 0.3 from, but it's 3.3 attempts to pass. Taking it 4 times isn't a problem. The score you're getting on the fourth attempt is the problem. And if you was my student and you're getting 34 on the fourth attempt, I would be concerned with that. But that's not something I can help you with. That's just, I'll say help you with. I can't help you with that live, because there's a serious misunderstanding there and you need to get to the bottom of it and why. But if you want direct help, join the boot camp. I keep calling it boot camp. Join the study camp, and then I'm going to help you personally with that. What are we on? 1. Let's take a look for the ones. Let's do it. So if you are really struggling, all this is for all of you with your theory, join the study camp, because I do give you personal help. We do it as a group session, and I do it individually as well, so you get personal guidance. So some of you are typing in answers in. Good morning, Samuel. Right, you guys gone for D. So some of you type in B, but I think you guys are mistyping, because I've got, like to say, 1D, sorry. Some of you are typing B's in. It's going to be D, bicycles, because the tracks are grooved. The wheels can get stuck in there, and the other reason is because they can ask you the real reason why cyclists are at risk. It's because trams can't steer, they're on tracks. So just in case, on the real test, they can ask you why cyclists are at risk rather than who's at risk. You're leaving your vehicle parked on the road and unattended. When may you leave the engine running? Diego. No problem, you are welcome. And to add to Diego's comment, if you guys got any questions, driving related, theory related, type it in. That's why I go live, so I can answer the questions personal to you rather than the generic YouTube answer. So you type in the question, I'm answering it personal to you. And what I can do is just make it slightly bigger. Sorry, good morning. Yes, I'm fine. The driving test, and your theory test expires 2 years. And this is what I'm saying as well. When you pass your theory, you don't want to be sitting on it, because life gets in the way. 2 years, you say 2 years to pass your driving test. It sounds like a long time, but before you know it, time has run. I've seen so many times with students coming to lessons like 6 weeks before the theory runs out, and expects me to get them up to speed with the driving and pass their driving test. The problem is, it depends how you structure your driving lessons, because you can always cram lessons in and get ready for your driving test that way. But there's no guarantee you're going to get a driving test date because of the waiting time. The new rules have changed on May the 12th, where only students can book their own driving test. What that should do is start to stop the scammers from booking driving tests, and more dates should start to appear. How long that will take effect, no one knows. No one knows if it's going to work. Only time will tell. But don't sit on it. That's why I say you take driving lessons while you're taking the theory, because it's hand in hand. Once you pass your theory test, you book a driving test and you go for it, rather than pass your theory test, then start to take driving lessons. Because if you haven't driven before, it's going to take 2 hours a week. It's going to take you at least 6 months. And that's roughly an average learner to be ready for a driving test. And even then, 6 months, then you're now looking to get a driving test, which is about 6 months waiting time. That's a year gone. That's if you pass first time. So don't sit on it. Pass your theory, go straight for your driving if it's possible. What are we on? 2s? Let's find the 2s. I want to start driving lessons. What's stopping you? If you want to start. Please put the question number. Some of you just type in A. These I have no idea what that's relating to, whether it's question 1 or question 2, especially guys, for those of you typing D in, because question 1 was D. So please put the question number and letter of choice. You got A here. Yeah, never. If you leave the engine running and no one's in it and someone steals your car, your insurance company's not gonna pay out, because you left the car running with the keys in there. So you've not only lost your car, you're going to get no money back for it either from the insurance company. When will a new car need its first MOT test? Blessed morning. Good morning to you, first of all. Welcome, Mr. D. My first time on the live. My theory test on the 27th. Well, first time here. Welcome. Hopefully you learned something and want to come back. Next week is the 24th. Before your test. So come back next week. What you want to do, Francis, while you're studying, for all of you, but for Francis and anyone got a test in the 27th, 28th, that type of time scale. While you're studying during the week, write down any questions, concerns that you may have. Bring it to the live sessions and ask them, and I can then answer it and send you into your test a lot more confident. I've not seen your name before, so welcome. Thanks for your videos. You're welcome. I passed my test. 50 out of 50. Well done to you. Can't get better than that. 47. Has a perception, scraped it. But that will improve when you take your driving lessons, because you're going to be using your hazard perception when you are driving. So that will improve anyway. But well done. Congratulations. Again, hopefully you start taking driving lessons straight away if you're not already. Do you think I should start my driving lessons? I passed 2 weeks ago. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Take driving lessons, get it done and dusted, especially now during the summer months before the winter comes in. Have my test on the 30th of June. That's about 6 weeks away, give or take. It's a long time. But on the positive note, you got a lot of time to study, a lot of live sessions to turn up to every Sunday. Shanika, so anytime you got questions, type them in the comment section. Let me answer it week to week. So let me go back to the freeze. Let's find the freeze. There we go. I think this is the first one. So it's all C's now. So you guys all agree. Mine's the 22nd. What do you mean by mine's the 22nd? Do you mean your test is on the 22nd? Your theory test 22nd? Which is 24th, which is end of next week. Is that... Just confirm if you mean you got a theory test date booked for the 22nd. Because if you have, you definitely want to turn up today. Let's have words. Got yours on the 21st. 21st. That's before next Sunday. I wish you guys the best of luck with it, by the way. Come back next Sunday and let us know how you got on. June. That's not too bad because it's about 3 weeks away. 24, 31. About 3 weeks away. Alright, sorry, what did you guys come for? 3C? Yeah, 3 years old. You're performing a cardiopulmonary resuscitation CPR on a casualty. How fast should chest compressions be? Is that Sadat? Good morning. First, I'm not seeing your name before, so good morning, welcome. Test on the 9th of June. Again, that's not too bad, it's not too far away. Can't find the link for the mock test. That would have been sent in an email. But your test is on the 22nd, you said. So that's 22nd, or 24th, 23. So it's next Friday. Definitely, if you can turn up today, the live session, let's have a conversation. And we got another live session on Wednesday, but you haven't taken a mock test. Turn up to the live session today if it's possible, and then let's have a conversation. I can send you a link directly from the session if you haven't got it. It should be in your email. Yeah, turn up today and I can send you the link live, and then you can do another one before Wednesday because we've got a Wednesday live session as well. And if you can't attend the live session on Wednesday, I can send you feedback via the message on the Theory Test Pro. But I need to make sure you're on point for the 22nd. I want to know about the signs. I'm yet to understand what each sign signifies. I want to know about signs. That's a broad statement. What do you mean? Shape, colours? Because the signs, I want to choose my words carefully. The signs are pretty easy once you know what the colours and shape mean. Obviously, the stuff inside the sign is what you need to know. But once you know what the colour and shape is trying to tell you, it becomes easier to understand. So that statement's really, really broad. And this is what I'm saying when someone says to me or sends me an email, I need help. Same thing you're saying here, I need to know about signs. What is it that you need to know about signs? Simplify it. But basic guideline I give you without shape and colours, go through shape and colours first. And once you do that, then like I said, studying becomes easier. Break it down in simple format. Let's just do this one quickly while it's still there. Pass your theory tests. Well done to you. I've not seen your name before, so welcome first of all. I just yeah, revising can be boring. That's why I say do it small chunks. It's quality you want, not quantity. Some of you are still studying for an hour, 2 hours at a time. Where you find an hour, 2 hours to study at one time, I don't know. But again, everybody's different. But me, if I was doing it, would I study for an hour and a half, 2 hours? Definitely not. Would I just study for 20 minutes, 30 minutes here? Yes. But it'd be quality and structured because I would know what I'm looking to study. You guys just pick up the app and start to do tests and random. You need to know what it is that you're trying to achieve. Is it understanding documents, for example? Is it understanding road signs? Then just do that. Doing 3 or 4 categories in one sitting makes no sense whatsoever. But yeah, congratulations on passing, by the way. The way some of you are studying is wrong, and you don't realise that until you take the test and fail it. But when you fail it, you think it's because you don't know what the questions are and the answers are the questions where the different blah. It's not. It's the way you studied in the first place. Trying to find the fours. Let's make sure it's the first one. And what I'm realizing with the apps as well, they're not guiding you with the studying. They're just obviously giving you the questions and a basic explanation. You guys are just going on there and just doing random studying, which means when you go for your test, so when you go for your test, you get random scores like 34, 36, 38. It's nowhere near passing. Right, you guys have gone for D. Right, what's D twice per second? Yeah, they're starting to use this one a lot more. Let me go here. They're starting to use this one a lot more, twice per second. It used to be 120 beats per minute, but they're now starting to do 2 per second. There's been a collision. How can you help a driver who's suffering from shock? I have the link also. The link to what? I have the link also. What have you got the link to? Or is that comment not for me? I'm not sure. I will join today. Please send me the link. My emails is full. If your email's full, I can't send you the link. What you want to do is log onto the training platform. Log into Kajabi. On the right hand side, scroll down to the Sunday training session and the link is there. Or go into Kajabi, go into the announcement. I think it's the last announcement that I sent an email out to all you guys, and all the links are in the last announcement. But if your email's full, I can't send it to you. I'm not gonna have time to send it to you because once I come off YouTube, I'm gonna grab something to eat and then prepare for the live session. But all the links are on Kajabi, so log into Kajabi. You see, even he passed first time listening to you from your videos are cheat codes people need to lock in. Someone else said that to me before. My videos are cheat codes if you listen to what's being said in the video and break it down and do what's being said in the video. And to a point, yeah, 100%. But what I've noticed from doing the study camp for a little while now, as much as students get the information on what to do and how to do it, they still don't do it. And that's a big issue because, like I said, you guys, let me rephrase this. When I give the information in the study camp, it's structured. They've got to follow a set pattern for them. It's individual. It's not a group thing. It's individual. And it is a bit long-winded, but it gets results. Some students think, well, if I take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and still do what I'm doing, I'm going to still pass. No, because you've got to think about it. If you've taken a test 2 or 3 times and come to the study camp, and then you're taking a little bit of my advice here and still doing what you did previously, the outcome is still going to be the same. You have to stop what you've been done previously because it was wrong, and I'm take on board on everything I'm saying, and then you're going to get a positive result. So even though my videos are telling you what to do, some people aren't disciplined enough to keep doing it, because I've seen in the study camp where I'm actually holding their hand with the training and they still don't do what I'm telling them to do. And one of the common ones in there is mock test after mock test and studying for an hour and a half, 2 hours. You should not be doing that. That's a waste of time. So yeah, the videos are cheat codes, providing you can take on board what I'm saying and do exactly what I'm saying. 5. Got to see here. Right, 5B is what you guys are going for. Reassure them reassure them confidently. Just in case you didn't know, reassure means talking to them about anything, make them stay calm, but don't tell them they're going to be fine, and don't tell them they're going to be okay. Why should you be cautious when going past this bus waiting at a bus stop? When is your live session on Wednesday? Live session on Wednesday. If you're part of the study camp, it's 7:30. 7:30 on Wednesday, 1 o'clock on Sunday. The link is in Kajabi if you are the study group. Please, what time is your weekdays live stream? I don't do live streams on a weekday, it's just a Sunday. I do live stream. Which Sunday's 10 a.m. I don't do live streams on a weekday. If you mean the study camp, that's live training, just to the study camp members. That's via Zoom, where I break down the categories in a bit more detail. But if you're talking about that, that's Monday to Thursday, 5 till 7. If you can't make it, it is recorded, so you can watch it in your own time. Live passed the theory test on the 11th. Congratulations on passing. 49 missed it by 1. 68. That's 75. Well done to you. Congratulations on passing. And thank you for coming to the live stream. Let me know. How do I get the link? You keep mentioning links. I don't know what link we're talking about. Are you talking about the study camp link? If that's the case, let me just put it in there now. It's in the comment section. If that's what you're talking about. Again, because some of you are in here from the study camp, but your YouTube name is different from your study camp name. So if you're talking about the study camp, if you're a study camp pupil, student, log into the training platform where you watch the videos and stuff. On the right-hand side, it's got all the workshop links and the review links on the right-hand side, permanently in there. But if you're talking about the link to the study camp, it's in the description anyway. Because I've done the description on Friday, and I'll just put it into the comment section now. But you guys have to clarify what link you're talking about. Sorry, let me just do this one. Okay, what days do you go live? Sunday, 10 a.m. until whenever. Sorry, I meant to ask if I can get the link. Same thing. I don't know what link we're talking about, but hopefully I've explained it anyway. I want to join the live during the week as well. That study camp is, I don't do this on a weekday, it's just on a Sunday. When I don't go, it is live, but it's not live YouTube, it's live for the study camp students via Zoom, where we have classes for 2 hours a day. Right, what are we on? 6. I've got 8 here. I've got some B's correct. I'll put the link. The link is, like I said, the link is here in the description, and the link is in the comment section. So whether you can copy and paste it from there, that's how you join the study camp. Right, you guys are going for B. Yeah, people may cross the road in front of it. You're traveling on a narrow section of the road. What should you do if a horse rider ahead is riding in the center of the lane? So let me move the comment because you can't see what this one is. What's that, 7? Seven B, stay behind them. Yeah. For those of you doing driving lessons, you're looking at 10 to 12 miles an hour. When you go past the horse as well. You're driving at night on an unlit road. What should you do if you're following another vehicle? How do I get onto the study group? The study camp, the 30-day study camp, the link is in the description, and I put the link in the comment section. I also have my first lesson today, and you're here on the live stream. Hopefully the session goes as your first lesson as well. If you've got no driving experience, it's going to be nerve-wracking. It's natural. Hopefully you get an instructor who keeps you calm, but I wish you luck with that. Come back next week and let me know how the lesson went on. Thanks that you're a legend. You're right. Everyone processes information differently. God, my way worked. Everybody does process information differently. That's why it's not one way to study, but there's a structured way to study, and that's what you guys got to understand. Again, can you pass doing mock test after mock test? Yeah, but the stats says you do it that way, and I've seen it. It's going to take you the average, what the stats says, 3.3 attempts to pass a theory test. It needs to be structured. But the biggest thing that you guys are missing, and like I said in the study group, when I explain this to me, it's a little bit long-winded, but the information stays, and they can see the improvement with each session that we do. But the biggest thing that you guys are missing, because you don't have me telling you this, you need this information for your driving test. That's the bit you're missing. So you guys see it as passing the theory test so you can get to take a driving test or book a driving test. That's not the way to look at it. You're studying the theory test to help you pass your driving test. Once you understand that, the two goes hand in hand. You taking the time to learn this stuff inside that makes no difference, because you're going to pass it anyway. So if you take the extra, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, taking it down, breaking down, understanding it, you're saving yourself money for your driving test in the driving lessons in the long run, because the knowledge is there. But you guys skim read, take mock test, scrape it, 43 out of 50. Happy days. Yeah, you've passed, but guess what? You're going to be parked up at the side of the road discussing the theory because your knowledge is weak, which means that's money being burnt because you're discussing something that you've already done when you should be applying it to the driving lesson, because that's what you're paying for, to drive. I've seen that too many times in the car where I'm sitting on the side of the road and I got to explain the basics of triangles, circles, give way lines to students when they've already passed the theory test. So take that a little bit more time to learn it, understand it. You're passing it anyway when you do it that way, and the knowledge for your driving is solid. And that's why I recommend doing driving lessons alongside your theory test, because you're actually using it. You guys are all gone for 8 on this. I love that avatar. So was that Sammy? 8A is what you guys for. Use dip large on the unlit road. Yeah. If you wasn't following another vehicle, it would be full beam. So again, read the question carefully, because on the rule test, they got the first part of this, but they haven't got you following another vehicle. So following another vehicle is dipped lights, driving on an unlit road at night is going to be full beam. What should you do while you're driving or riding along a motorway? What should you do? So you go first. Yeah, so I wish you the best with the first lesson though. Stay calm. And hopefully your driving instructor is calm enough to keep you calm and you enjoy it. But nerves, let me just give you a heads up. Nerves is a good thing. It's not a bad thing, by the way. And you are going to make mistakes. That's natural. And you're going to make mistakes on every single lesson. So don't be afraid to mess up. That's how you learn. You learn from mistakes. And hopefully you get an instructor who doesn't scream and shout and explains why the mistake was made and how you can improve on it. So mistakes is a good thing on the driving lesson. It's not a bad thing. But enjoy it. Right, I think I'm up to date with all the comments. Yeah, come up to date. Right, so we're on 9. I've got A, 9A. Got another 9A. Concentration for A, concentrate more than you would, should be standard. I've got a C. A, D's and C's. So right, let's take a look at this. Concentrate more than you would on other roads. That concentration should be standard for every road. You shouldn't concentrate more on the motorway. What's the other ones? D's and C's. Look much further ahead than you would on other roads. Yes. The reason why motorways are long and straight, there's no sharp bends on motorways really. There's gentle curves but no sharp bends, and you're doing 70 miles an hour. So you do need to look further ahead. Concentration should be the same for both roads. And some of you went for D, maintain a shorter separation distance than you would on other roads. If anything, it should be a bigger separation distance. As much as it's 40 miles an hour or more, because on motorways it's 70 miles an hour. It's a 2-second gap if it's dry, 4 seconds if it's wet, ice and snow is 10 times longer. You never go shorter separation distance. Never leads to safety shorter. It's interesting that you guys are going for the. I can understand this one. That's a common answer that I see, but never a short distance. You're approaching this roundabout. What should you do when a cyclist is keeping to the left while signalling to the right? I'm going to move this out of the way so you can see the answers. Number 10. Melissa, good morning to you. 49, so you missed it by 1. Congratulations. 52, Sounds Perception videos and live streams helped you a lot. I'm glad it helped you. I don't know why it's all the way down there. Let's bring it up so you can see it. Congratulations on passing, and thank you for coming to the live stream, letting me know. Appreciate that. Oh, you guys are going for D. Yeah, it's going to always be land more space. And the other question on the real test is why? Because they can go in any direction. They would choose the safest route for them, not the same route as a car. For those of you taking driving lessons, if you're turning right at a roundabout, you should be in the right hand lane if it's lanes. And for a cyclist, they could be, or horse rider, they could be in a left hand lane to turn right. So that's the reason why, just in case they reword the question differently. What does it mean when a moving vehicle is showing a flashing amber beacon? Remember, if you guys got any questions, feel free to type it in the comment section. Let's get those answered, especially if you've got a test coming up this week. I've got C's and D's on this. C's and D's. I will see. Slow moving. What's D? Vehicle's a doctor's car. The flashing beacons on cars, just in case you didn't notice the light on top. Amber is slow moving, so you're looking for slow moving vehicles. And doctors' cars are green. And emergency services, human life only, is blue. And red and yellow is traffic officers. So there's 4 colours. Amber, slow moving. Blue, emergency vehicles but human life only. Green is doctors' cars, and red and amber is your traffic officers. Those are the answers that can come from the real test. Interesting that some of you went for D though. Let me remove this so you can see the options. You can't see the options. Let me just expand this. Give me a second. It's not good, is it? All right, let me move it. Hold on 1 second. Do that. And I'll move it up so you can see. So what does this sign mean? And this is question 12. So question 12, what does this sign mean? That's the easiest way of doing it. So someone at the beginning, I can't remember who it was asking about, not asking, saying about they don't understand road signs, so they need to understand road signs. This is what I was saying earlier on. If you know what the shapes and colours are trying to tell you, it makes it a little bit easier going forwards. That's your first thing that you need to do, is understand what the shapes mean. So red circles are orders. 95% of red circles are no's. So by knowing that, what you want to do now is literally work out what's inside the circle. So we know it's going to be a no. They're giving you all 4 options of no's, to be fair. They normally give you 2. On the real test, it's normally 2, so you can get rid of the other 2 and become 50-50. So isolate the ones with no's, but on this one, they're giving you all 4. But on the real test, it's normally 2. And then once you isolate down to 2, it's 50-50, becomes slightly easier. But like I said, knowing what the red circles mean, 95% of red circles are no's. So if you break it down, no through road means you can't go any further. It's a dead end. So it's not that one. You got no entry, which is what most of you seem to be going for. No road markings. There's no road markings in there. No road markings. But it's got no in it, so it's going to be in a circle. I don't think there is a sign for no road markings. That would be in a triangle more than anything else. And no parking. Again, you've got nothing on there visible to say it's no parking. So by default, you're left with no entry. Literally can't go in. Well, like I said, work out what the colours mean, colour and shape means, and then go from there. Makes your life a little bit easier. What should you do if you overtake a cyclist when it's very windy? I'd also add, again, when you guys are studying, some of you don't even realise this, the words like should, may are kind of like legal requirements. When they got what should you do when you overtake a cyclist, it's like a legal requirement. So when they've got those type of words, you're looking for the legal answer, if that makes sense, in the highway code. So again, it comes down to understanding all of this, that should, may. It's a good thing you changed your answer, because I was realising, I think to myself, why did you pick D? That's not a problem. Yeah, so little things like those, should, may, and some other words in the question makes it legal or changes the answer you're looking for. But like I said, you guys don't understand all those little tricks when it comes to it. You just read it as it is and just think, let me just go for an answer rather than looking for law. And I'll explain what I mean by that in a minute. It's all B's. Bring this back down. So as much as it's common sense, it's law. So what should you do if you overtake a cyclist? Keep close as you pass. Obviously not. You got to allow them extra room. If they ask you on the real test how much room it should be, it's going to be a meter. I think the law is 1.5 meters, but on the theory test they'll ask you what the distance is. The two answers are as much space as you would give a car. And those of you taking driving lessons, it's a meter. That's how much space you give a car. So if they ask you for the exact measurement on the test, or the exact unit on the real theory test, it's a meter. Obviously, sound your horn is warning of your presence, and overtaking very slowly makes no sense. You're overtaking a cyclist slowly, so you can be beside the cyclist longer than you need to be. But law, you should give them extra room, so not to frighten them. What's the main hazard you should be aware of when following this cyclist? This is interesting, because Nero took the test the other day and passed it. I got this question in my test, and the other option was overtake widely. Widely is the same as give them plenty of room. As I said on the real test, it's just worded differently, but you guys will study the test. And like I said, if you go outside that 30-day sweet spot, it becomes a memorizing exercise. And like I said, it's not deliberate. I know you guys ain't sitting down memorizing answers. The brain goes by recognition. That's how you remember stuff. That's why it's called a memory. So you're memorizing the answer, not deliberate, because you've seen the question again and again. That's why the longer you take to study to pass the theory test, the more you're memorizing and not understanding. So overtaking widely just means give them plenty of room or allow more space. It's just worded differently. But if you saw the same question again and again, you'd be looking for the previous answer, allow more space, and you're thinking, well, that's not there. And then that's when the struggle comes in. Because the brain panics now because it doesn't see what it recognised. Should, may, would, got to understand the question, then you'll know the answer and why you picked it. Exactly. Should, may, would are legal stuff that you should be doing. You definitely understand your stuff, because not many people know that, so well done to you. Oops. So that. What were you on? 14. Wow. Milan McQueen. Pass my theory after 10 tries. Never give up. Never, never, ever give up. If you give up, you can't pass. So keep going 10 times. It's not the highest I've ever had, to be fair. I had someone going back years now, 22 times, came into the classroom session. Brilliant driver, could drive because he was studying while he was driving, but could never pass the theory test. And he came into the session 22 times and passed it. So that's the most I've ever seen, about 10. It's fine, never give up, keep going. Because if you give up, there's no chance of passing. I know it's frustrating, it's deflating. I've got a B here. Because you keep failing. But you got to understand there's a reason why you're failing. Ideally, try to find the reason why you're failing. A lot of people think it's because they're stupid, can't do it, blah, blah, blah. But there's a reason with the studying wise. And once you can tackle that, you're fine. But if you keep going and doing the same thing over and over, you're going to get the same results. Eventually, the stars will align. You're going to get enough questions that you know the answer to. But like I said, if the studying or the knowledge is weak, you have to change something to get some understanding going. But unfortunately, the apps don't give you that overview. 14B. No, it can't be. You guys are going, some of you are going for B, but the majority is A, so I've got to go with A. The cyclist may swerve into the road. Cyclist may swerve. And well, you guys are going for B. The cyclist may move to the left. Think about it. You're driving down the roads. The question says, what's the main hazard you should be aware of when you're following this cyclist? And some of you went for B. The cyclist may move to the left. If the cyclist moves to the left, how does that affect you? It's moving to the left where the cars are or curb is. So it has no effect on you whatsoever. But if the cyclist swerves to the right, then that's an impact on you. So that's the reason why it's that. And the other follow-up question is, cyclists swerve deliberately, and they ask you, this is the real test, by the way, not the apps. Cyclists swerve deliberately. What's the reason for cyclists swerving deliberately? And just in case you didn't know, it's drain and manhole covers. The back wheels do not, as mopeds and cyclists, motorcyclists as well, not just cycles. They swerve to avoid drains and manhole covers. And if you didn't know, for those of you taking driving lessons, you drive a meter from the curb, as I just mentioned on the previous one with the cyclist, a meter clearance for a cyclist. So if they do swerve, they swerve in that meter clearance so you don't hit them and they don't hit you. That's the reason why. So not many people know the back wheels or the wheels don't grip, especially in winter months when the drains and manhole covers are wet. As I said, all about understanding. Why could it be dangerous to reverse from a side road into a main road? Question. I'm having a driving test in a couple of weeks. So you got your driving test in a couple of weeks. So I wish you luck with that first and foremost. And struggling a bit when I need to find a place to pull up on the left on the mock test, as I get a bit nervous. Any suggestion? So I can't give you a suggestion because I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to explain why. You said I'm struggling a bit when I need to find a place to pull up on the left. Are you struggling to find a place to pull up on the left? You don't know where it's safe to pull up? Are you not getting close enough to the curb? Are you hitting the curb? Give me a little bit more information with that. And the other question I've got to ask is, why are you getting nervous parking on the left? That's something you've done from day one. If you think about it, the very first lesson you had, you moved off, you had to stop on the left at some point. So I'm not understanding why you're nervous. But let's tackle the other question first. What's the bit you're struggling with? Choosing a safe location, getting too close to the curb, not close enough, coming in too fast. Give me a bit more info than that. And then I can give you the advice based on it. On your driving test, you are going to get pulled up on the left. What is it now? 3 times? Minimum 3 times? Just out of interest as well, if you're still here, Where are you taking your driving test? Just out of interest. Which test centre? You guys are going for D. Yeah, never reverse from a side road into a main road. You should go into a side road, turn around, and come back into the main road facing forward, so you can 100% view, not reverse into a main road. You're traveling along a motorway. Where would you find a crawler or climbing lane? I'm going to get rid of this so you can see the answers. No, I'm not. I'm going to move it up. This is 16, number 16, and these are the options. So number 16, you're traveling along a motorway. Where would you find a crawler or climbing lane? Still got some 15s coming through. 15D. That was the correct answer, wasn't it? Right, the B's are coming through. So it's B's. So technically, shouldn't be covering the answer that you look want. You guys are going for B. Steep gradient crawler, just in case you didn't know, a crawler lane is for heavy goods vehicle. So when they're carrying the heavy loads, they can't go up a steep hill to maintain 60 miles an hour, so they automatically slow down. So they're literally going to crawler lane to crawl up, and you guys would be here on this lane to the right of it, doing your 70 miles an hour. So if they ask you the question, where would you find it's a steep gradient, and it's normally on the left-hand side of the motorway next to the hard shoulder, not along the hard shoulder, next to the hard shoulder, if they ask you that question on the real test, not the apps. I've got A here. What's A? Before service area? Nope. I just did that. Hopefully it was decent enough explanation for you. Bring this down. You should be able to see the numbers now. 17. When may you cross a double solid white line in the middle of the road? Choosing a safe location. Why are you struggling with a safe location? Ferry training. Where should you not park? Within 10 meters of a junction, on the brow of a hill, on a bend, and not near a zigzag. Those are the places you shouldn't park. So then the rest is open, obviously in front of a driveway. The rest is open up to you. And okay, it kind of makes sense now when you said you get nervous. Let me explain. When the examiner says, or your instructor says, park up somewhere safe, could be on the left, it's your decision. There's nothing to panic about. It's what you don't want to do is here now. They're not saying park up now. They're saying park up somewhere safe, convenient for you. So you just choose a big gap for you to get into and make sure it's big enough for you to get out of. So don't rush it. Just drive down the road. Make sure there's no single yellow lines, double yellow lines, or red routes, driveways. And like I said, stay more than 10 meters away from parked cars and not on the bends and stuff like that. It just makes life a little easier. You're panicking because you're worried about putting up. And what most students do is because they hear park up on the left, they feel they've got to do it now. It's not. It's in your time. They will say park up somewhere safe, convenient on the left. Your time. When you park up on the left, go handbrake and neutral, or drive or park if you're doing manual. And when they say to you drive and when you're ready, it is when you're ready. Again, take your time, take a deep breath. I always train my pupils to take a deep breath before moving off and ask yourself what the examiner's looking for from you when you go to move off. The obvious is control, not stalling it, rolling back if it's on a gradient. But what he's really looking for is your blind spot checks. Don't overthink it. Just choose a big gap, get your car in, and then drive off. That's the simplest way of me putting it. Just don't overthink it. With some situations, I will add as well, since we're talking about your driving test and being nervous, sometimes the examiner helps you parking. They say just park anywhere along here. And they may say ignore the driveways, ignore the yellow lines. They're now giving you permission to stop in front of a driveway. They're now giving you permission to stop on the yellow line, which makes your life a little bit easier. That's what I ask you where you're taking your driving test. Because some areas when I used to work in Tottenham, some of the stop-ins were yellow lines, and the examiner just said ignore the yellow lines on this occasion. But yeah, don't overthink it. To be honest, as long as you're not breaking the theory test rules, within 10 meters, near a zigzag, blah blah blah, what I just mentioned, they're not really fussed as long as you're not hitting the curb. They want to see you be able to stop on the left, mirror signal, do what you need to do, mirror signal, move off. That's what they're looking for. They're not really bothered where you're stopping as such. Don't overthink it. Once you overthink it, you're going to do what you're doing, as in be nervous. But good luck with your driving test in a couple of weeks, though. Never really had a student worry about parking before. Just keep it very simple, very basic. Greetings to you. Oh, I've got B's and C's on there as well. Right, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a little tip for this, because you guys are going for B's and C's to pass traffic without queuing back at a junction. To pass traffic without queuing back at a junction, that's never going to be safe. Because if traffic's queuing at a junction and you're passing traffic that's queuing at a junction, that's dangerous. The double white lines in the middle of the roads means you cannot pass a slow-moving vehicle. Sorry, you can only pass a slow-moving vehicle 10 miles an hour. So the key here is 10 miles an hour. They're only going to give you one option at your 4 with 10 miles an hour or less. As much as I'm saying don't memorize, there's always exceptions to the rules. I still teach my students the understanding behind it, but there's always exceptions where you can speed the process up of learning. The key is 10 miles an hour or less. And it's only 3 vehicles that are going to give you that 4. So in this case, it's road maintenance. You're now looking for a cyclist doing 10 miles an hour or less, and they're now throwing horse riders in there. A couple of years ago, there was no horse riders. So it's road maintenance, cyclists, and horse riders doing 10 miles an hour or less. But that's the key to the answer. If it's got 10 miles an hour, that's the one you want to go for. But when you're studying and learning, make sure you understand the reason why that the answer is correct, and because they're slow moving, that's the reason why. What makes the vehicle in the picture environmentally friendly? Can't find a comment. Oh, learning. Hopefully that answers. You haven't come back to me whether that makes sense what I was saying to you. And then put you up there. Choosing a safe place. Just don't overthink it. Literally just choose a big enough gap for you to get in, nice and easy. Make sure it's big enough for you to get out. Just don't break any of the highway, the theory test rules. And this is what I was saying earlier on about you using the theory to apply to your driving. That's why it's important. Just don't do the rules that you shouldn't be doing, if that makes sense, on parking up, and you should be fine. But don't get nervous over it, because you're going to be nervous as hell on test day anyway. The last thing you want is extra nerves over something that is a simple task that you've been doing from day one. But it's only simple if you break it down in simple chunks. Got A here as well. I'm doing 17, sorry, we're on 18. Just having a moment now, 1 second. Let me find 18s. You're going to seem to come for D. Oh, just someone's gone for a C. It's electric. It's a tram, just in case you haven't noticed. It's a tram. It's powered by electric. That's the reason why. White is traveling in neutral for long distances, known as coasting, a bad driving technique. Passed my theory test on 6th of May, 43. First of all, welcome. I've not seen your name before, I don't think, so welcome to the channel. 43 out of 55. I'm going to say congratulations first from passing, but the teacher in me says 43 scraping it, because obviously you need 43 to pass. I would just look at the sheet they gave you with the wrong answers, or wrong category, sorry, and then just brush up on the categories if it's road signs and rules of the roads, road markings, that type of thing, because you're going to need that section for your driving lessons. But that's what I say to all my students if they scrape to 43. But a pass is a pass. It's what you do, that knowledge afterwards is key. Saw this question, but the options were tough, not like this. I can easily pick answers now from this options. Yeah, as I keep saying, the app's questions are sampled questions. You study long enough, you'll recognize the questions, answers, options, whatever way you want to call it. When you go for the real test, they're worded differently. The options aren't always the same. That's why it's important to understand it. So when they're worded differently, you're good. But I repeat, most of you are still studying the old-fashioned way, thinking the questions and answers are going to be very, very, very similar to the real test. I've got C, A and C. Got another C. So I have to sorry, I have to assume that A is correct because that's the majority. Right, let's break it down. Your Y is traveling in neutral. A and C is what you go for braking when there'll be no engine braking. That sounds good. And what's the other one? C. It will cause your car. No, causing the car to skid is driver error. Being in neutral doesn't cause your car to skid. Skidding is driver. 99.9% of skids is driver error, just in case you didn't know. And 0.1% is road surface. That's your two answers for the skidding question. What's the reason for skidding? It's driver error. If that's not the option, you're looking for road surface. Being in neutral doesn't cause your car to skid, but it's a lack of control. That's the engine plates not touching. For those of you doing manual, that's the engine plates not touching. But that's another topic altogether. I cover that in the study camp in detail with the app as well, because that's a big issue, especially for automatic students, because obviously you guys don't do coasting in automatics. Number 20, it says you're about to go down a steep hill. What should you do to control that? You're about to go down a steep hill. What should you do to control the speed of your vehicle? And that's similar, believe it or not, this question is similar to the coasting question. It's the opposite. I'll explain why, not what I mean by that in a minute. Number 20, by the way. Let me show these because these come up afterwards. Right, what's this say? Yeah, the app doesn't teach you the logic and the sense and the quality or the structure you need. The app just gives you the information and the basic highway code explanation. They don't give you the details behind it. And some of the questions from the theory test, they don't give you background information. One that comes to mind, and I'll teach this in the study camp on the first thing Monday because it's part of the foundation. When they ask questions about the motorways, dual carriageways, and one-way roads, one-way street, you have to see it as 3 lanes. So you've got left lane, middle lane, right lane. Sometimes when they ask the question, they don't tell you how many lanes it's got. And once you understand motorways, dual carriageway, one-way roads, one-way streets, they are talking about 3 lanes in the question, even though they don't mention it. There's a question that comes up, where is overtaking allowed, not allowed? And the common answer is one-way street, but overtaking on a one-way street is allowed based on the theory test because it's 3 lanes. Because it's 3 lanes, you can pass left, middle, right, makes no difference. But most people go for one way because they see one way as a single track road. And obviously on a single track road, you shouldn't overtake. But sometimes the theory test questions don't give you the background information that helps you to pass that question, if that makes sense. But all these people like me who license to train the theory test understands that because we have that information from the DVSA to pass on to you, but the apps can't pass that on to you because it's an app. It doesn't talk to you. So that's where all the little tricks and reading the words and between the lines and all the rest of it comes into play. Hence why I do the videos and the live stream. So I'm just trying to find the 20s so you guys can get that insight. B. Got C here. Got C again. I'm not sure what that's related to, Preston. Oh, you're way behind. You've got steep gradient and stuff like that on there. I'll just show that so you know what I'm talking about. You're behind. That's why I said put the question number. Because that's coming through the 20s. Steep gradient was number 16 or 17, I think. 20B, and I've got C's on here as well. So let's take a look at B. You select a low gear and use the brakes carefully. What was the other option? It was C, wasn't it? I'm sure it was C. Yes, C. Select a high gear and use the brakes firmly. Right, let me break this down because, again, this comes up on a Wednesday in the study camp. In my experience, most students who do automatic lessons get this wrong because technically the car does all the work for you. So let me break this down for you so you understand. You're going down a steep hill, so you're going down a steep hill where the car's going to pick up speed naturally. What should you do to control the speed of your vehicle? Use a low gear. A low gear means 1 or 2 because it drives the car at slow speeds. It's a power gear, but it drives the car at slow speed, so it holds the speed. If you try to do 3, 4, 5, or 6, the car's going to pick up speed because it's a faster gear. So use a low gear and then use the brakes carefully. So if you have to use the brakes, you use it. You should never use the brakes all the way down the steep hill because you're going to overheat the brakes, which is another theory test question on the real test. What is brake fade? Brake fade is overheating of the brakes. That's why this is not correct. It's a high gear, fast gear, and it says use the brakes firmly. You're going to overheat the brake pads, which means the brakes are going to fail if they get too hot. That's the reasons why. And like I said, this is all about background information. For those of you doing manual, you should have an idea what this is, but for those of you doing automatic, you don't really come across this. So that's number 20. Let me click end on that. So let me do this and get rid of this. So as I mentioned earlier on at the beginning of the live stream, categories, 14 different categories your test is made up from. The 50 questions is this is 12 categories in a 20 question mock test is a lot. And the most we've got is vulnerable road users, 3 questions in total. So like I said, your 50 questions is just made up of 14 different categories. It's random 50 questions. So whereas on this one, I got 3 vulnerable road users, you may get 5 vulnerable road users on the test. There are road signs on here. Yeah, road and traffic signs. 2, where again, you may get 5 on yours. So that's just the way the test is made up. That's why I say study the categories first before even attempting mock test. And don't do mock tests one after the other because it makes no sense. You're behind. There's a delay on YouTube, so you was behind on that. Because people can't go forwards because they can't see what the question is. Like I said, so you're behind it. Hopefully you probably caught up by now. So hopefully that was helpful. Uh, 10 a.m. Sunday mornings until when we finish. Samuel, hopefully I did that. High gears. Low gears is a low number. The lower the number. So let me come out of that and do it again. The lower the number, the slower the car goes. The higher number, the faster the car goes. Low gears are power gears because you need power to move from a standstill position. Once you get to 50, 60, 70 miles an hour, you don't need power. You need a weak gear. The way that I normally explain to my students when they struggle to understand, if you're into athletics, the 100 meters and 200 is an explosive event. They need power. To get that power, they use starting blocks. And that's what first gear is, if you think of it that way. First gear is starting blocks for 100 meters, 200. When you get to 400 meters, 800 meters, 1500 meters, they just need a steady pace to maintain throughout. That's what third, fourth, fifth, and sixth gear. Steady pace to maintain that speed. You do not need power first and second at 40, 50, 60 miles an hour. So think of the starting blocks as first gear for cars, but drive the car at slow speeds. Higher the number, the faster the car goes. I just saw this comment, sorry I didn't see it before. So low gears are 1 and 2. I got confused with high and low. Yeah, low gears is 1 and 2. Low number, low speed. High number, high speed. Or low number, slow speed. High number, fast speed. It's understandable, I've seen it all the time, but especially like I said with students that do automatic lessons, because technically gears don't have to be explained to them, but you have to answer those questions in the theory test because the theory doesn't know whether you're taking manual or auto in that situation. Because when you pass in a manual, you can drive both automatic and manual without taking a further test. If you pass an automatic, you're stuck with automatic because you don't understand the gears and you haven't used your left leg, left pedal, clutch pedal with that. So if you want to go to a manual at a later date, you'll have to take another driving test with that. So that's the reason why. But I repeat, the apps don't explain all of this to you. That's the downside of an app. It gives you basic highway code explanation. They don't go into detail and give you examples of the starting blocks for athletics, for example, to make you visually understand. Right, let me do hazard perception. If you guys still got comments coming in or questions coming in, sorry, just type it in. I'm still monitoring that. Before I go into the hazard perception, let me type in. Sorry, I just saw a thing here on my Google. Just popped up. Robert paid £726 to skip the driving test waiting list. So someone just paid £726 to skip the waiting list, but new laws mean others won't be able to do this. That's what people are doing. They're actually paying money to skip the waiting list. I heard of one of my pupils' friends paid £500 the other day to get a test quickly. The average rate is $250. Average price is $250 to buy one of the apps from the scammers who are booking up all these test dates. But the new rules suggest that third party and scammers can't book driving tests now. It's only the students that can book it. So we'll see if those laws actually help the waiting time. But anyway, the theory test is tied into this. This is the driving test report sheet. So pass or fail your driving test, you're going to get a copy of this. This is what I'm saying to you, what I was saying earlier on about trying to do driving alongside with the theory alongside the driving, because you're actually using the theory. And not only that, when I said take a little bit longer to understand your theory because you're going to be using it for this. Some of you are studying it just to pass it so you can book a driving test. That's not the way to study. You should be studying to understand it, because if you study to understand it, it's going to take a little bit longer, but when you understand it, you're going to pass anyway because the understanding's there. And then when you pass it and take your driving lessons, the understanding's there, so you can spend more time driving, less time talking about your theory. But let's go to box 17. So let me just go up to box 12 first of all. There was a question about coasting. Why is coasting a bad driving technique? Because of lack of engine braking. So if you go to box 12, it's actually a gear fault, because like I said, manuals, automatics don't have gears technically. So it's a gear fault when you're coasting. And for those of you doing manual lessons, the common coasting issue on the driving test is when you go turn left or right and you're in second gear but the clutch is down. When you go left, for example, the clutch should be up when you go around corners. That's the common coasting issue on the driving test. That's why it's asked on the theory test, just in case you didn't realise. But it's a gear fault, it's not a clutch fault, it's a gear fault, because when the clutch is down, no gear is selected. But going back to the theory side of it, box 17, traffic lights, traffic signs. Again, someone asked at the beginning of the stream, struggling with road signs. That's why I said look for colours, know your colours and shapes, because that's where it falls into. Road markings. Remember that double yellow, double white line we had in the middle of the road? Only can overtake when passing a vehicle doing 10 miles an hour or less. Traffic lights, your traffic controllers, other road users. We had one about following distance. And I said to you, 2 seconds, 40 miles an hour more, 2 seconds dry, 4 seconds wet, 10 times ice and snow. That's your box 19. And overtaking, the class passing cyclists, horse riders, overtaking. We had a question on cyclists and horse riders in the 20 question there, so that's where it will come into. Position, normal stops. Someone said it was nervous about parking up, and I said if you don't break the theory test rules, 10 meters from a junction, double yellows, double reds, zigzags, Bravo Hill, blah blah blah, that's where it gets marked. Your pedestrian crossings, that's your puffins, pelicans, toucans. Position normal stops would be the 10 meters from the junction. Position normal driving is your staying to the left or meter from the curb. And then we come to the hazard perception, which is your use of mirrors. Before you signal, change the direction and change the speed. But on the videos, you don't see the car signaling. So they're not concerned about that. They're concerned about you changing direction or slowing down, which brings me into the explanation. A hazard is anything that's going to cause you to slow down or change direction. So if you are watching the video, it's you looking through the car's windscreen. So it's you in the driving seat. That's what you're looking at. You're looking through the car window. You're in the driver's seat driving. If you feel that you would need to move the steering wheel to avoid anything, you should be clicking. If you feel that you need to be using the foot brake to slow down in the video, you should be clicking. That's how it works. What they don't tell you is that you should be clicking twice per problem. In the videos, it says, as soon as you see the hazard, click early. The earlier you click, the more points you get. That's not true. If you click too early, you get a 0. What they should be telling you, you have to get a score for the problem. You have to get a score for the problem. You can see the problem, click too early, and get a 0. Then you might as well not have seen the problem. So it's literally see the problem and click twice, get a score for it. The way to do it is click once, count 1, 2, and click again. That way, if the first click is too early, the second one lands in the 5 or the 4. If the first click was on point, a 5, the second one lands in the 3 or the 2. You're always going to get the highest mark. But if you click once, you run the risk of getting 0. So if you're ever getting 0s on there and you click in once, that could be the reason why. The other reason could be you don't know what hazard is. So I will do a demonstration for you. So there's 2 types of clips when you're studying real life and CGI. When you take the real test, they're all going to be CGI. But I will still suggest you practice real life clips, even though the quality is poor and the timing is poor. Still practice it because you're just trying to train and keep your eye in on clicking for stuff. So anything that's going to cause me to slow down or change direction, I'm going to do a commentary drive, which is me talking out loud what I'm seeing, so you know why I'm going to click or not click, whatever the case may be. This has got no stars, so I'm seeing it for the first time like you are. So look ahead down the road as far as you can see. That's where you should be looking, not just a silver car in front. And then work back to yourself when you're driving. And scanning from pavement to pavement, because the road sign's on the pavement. He's braking. There's brake lights there. Look ahead in the distance. You've got the van parked up on the pavement. I can't be a meter from the curb. If there, he's got his door up. I'm going to go for a third one just to make sure. Always make sure you click. If you have to click an extra click, there's nothing wrong with it. Again, looking all the way down the road as far as you can see. Work your way back, scanning from left to right, right to left. I don't see nothing going on, so I don't need to click. It's got slow on the floor. Ask yourself, why has it got slow on the floor? To look ahead, zebra crossing, there's nobody there. That's probably the reason why, plus the bend. Four out of 5. Always look to see if you can improve. So with the car, I think it's braking at some point. You don't know if that's going to be the problem. That's why you click. So everything that's going to cause you to slow down, you click. So he's slowing down. Obviously, I need to slow down. So check your mirror. That's what the click represents, by the way. It's you checking the mirror. So when you're driving on your lessons, it's problem mirror. Problem mirror. Once you got out of the way, the van's parked up on the curb. I think I went for a third one just to make sure I got a score. Remember, make sure you get a score. So if you have to go for a third click, so be it. There's nothing wrong with that. If you click on things that exist, you can't add up to too many clicks. So let's rewind that back if I could have done it sooner. Yeah, as soon as I saw the van, I could have clicked sooner. But I'm happy with the 4. I'll accept that. And there's nothing else after, I don't think. So only 5 clicks per video on that video. So like I said, if you click on things that need clicking on, it will never add up to too many clicks unless you're spamming it for whatever reason. Let me just make sure there's no comments on this before I move on. I can address on that. So hopefully that all makes sense. Please, I have questions. Type them in. Fresh, type it in. That's the whole point of me being there. Type your questions in. Ideally Q semicolon so I can find it, but don't be afraid to ask. That's why I'm here. So let me just do this. Let me come out of this one. All right, God bless you. Pass my driving through. First of all, congratulations on passing, and let me know. Is that 247s are you trying to tell me? Sorry, congratulations on passing. Thank you for letting me know. Appreciate that. And good luck with the driving lessons. And when the test day comes around, I wish you the best of luck with it. You definitely can make it. Everyone can. It's just perseverance. That's all it is. My drive lesson is in 2 hours. Gonna get ready. I'll still watch your vids to keep the information stored. That should be back next Sunday. Thank you. I wish you luck with your driver list. I really do. Hopefully you enjoy it. But don't forget to take your driver's license, by the way. The amount of students turn up and come out the car, I forgot my license. Make sure you bring your driver's license because it's your first one. He's going to want to check, he or she is going to want to check your license and make sure it's legal. But yeah, I definitely wish you luck with that. Bring some water with you if you can so you stay hydrated. Don't be afraid to ask questions on there as well. Don't feel that you're sitting there and you have to be told what to do and listen to every single thing they're saying. Interact. The lesson is your lesson, and the instructor will feed off of you if you give him stuff to feed off. So don't just sit there and shrug your shoulder. I don't know. Play a part. But yeah, hopefully you enjoy it. What is curb? Also, can you explain more about the colour, e.g. amber for slow moving vehicles where other colours used for? I missed this when you mentioned it. I suggest you watch the replay and rewind that section back. The curb is the side of the road. When you step off the curb onto the main road, that's what it is. The curb is the pavement. It's the little bit that comes up and then goes to the pavement. So we park up on the left, which is next to the curb. It's called a curb edge. That's all that is. The colours basic is amber, slow moving. Blue is emergency services, but blue is emergency services, human life. And what was the other one? Green is doctors' cars, and red and amber is traffic officers. Ferry is in June, not long now, since 3 months ago. Jay, hopefully you are ready for it. Hopefully you are definitely ready for it. And I wish you luck with it, just in case I don't see or hear from you again. Explain all about clear air zone signs. But that's something I can't really explain without the images. The question is, why are you asking about that though? Explain all about clear air zone. So it's not something I can explain without the sign, because clear air zone is something slightly different. But the question is, why are you asking? Because it's not really a fairy test question. Unless you know something different that I don't, because you guys are in it more than I am. Especially if you're taking the real test, because the questions I know about the real test is the feedback I get from my students. So unless that question's been added and new, and we've got no information on that they're adding any new questions in. So just give me a bit more info on that and what it is that you want to know. But it's hard for me to explain without me being able to show the sign up on screen, because it's not common for a driving lesson. That's the reason why it'd be hard for me to explain it. All right, let me do another hazard perception. Get rid of this one. And I'll do a CGI. All right, fun with no stars. So again, I'll do a commentary. So it's snowing. Again, always look ahead, scan the road from left to right, right to left, because road signs, there's a car coming out of a side road there, so I'm going to click on that because it's icy. Oh, it's just on a skid as well. Again, you've got the van coming out. I'm going to click on that because if the car skidded, the van could skid. I'm going to go for a third one. I think I messed up on that. Again, looking into the bend. Because I can see kind of around the bend, I'm not clicking. If I couldn't see, I would be clicking. It's the main road. And not much else is going on. And especially with the video, because sometimes the hazard could be right at the end, so you have to be vigilant all the way through, even though stuff happened. 4 out of 5. Again, see how or where if I can improve on this. So I think the car came out first. There's a car on my left. So there's my 2 clicks. Then the van's coming. So weird. So they're saying I should click from there. I think that's a bit early. But that's what they're saying. Still got a 4. I'm happy with that. And I went for a third one just to make sure. So it's 4, 2, and a 1 that I scored in that video, but they gave me the highest score. If I keep doing 4s all the way through, I think I got 4 in the last video. If I kept doing 4s all the way through, I'm passing easily, so I'm not really fussed getting 4s. If I was getting 3s all the way through, I'd be concerned because 3 is the minimum mark I'm allowed to get to pass Scraper 44. So 4s, 5s, I'd be happy with consistently all the way through the videos, practicing wise. So hopefully that all makes sense. As soon as you see the problem, just click. And if you click on things that exist, you won't have red flags all along the bottom. As you can see, I've only got 5 on that one, and that's because I clicked for a third one on the van just to make sure I'm registering a score. Because let's just say the 4 and the 2 didn't exist for me. I clicked way too early. At least I know I'm getting a 1. Those 1s can make the difference between 43 and 44. So get a score. Getting 0s is adding nothing to your score. Get 1s, 2s, 4s, 5s. The average will add up to more than 44. But if you're getting 0s on the videos, you're running. I'm not saying you can't pass with getting 0s, but you're making it harder to pass. If that makes sense. And for me personally, teaching this, the questions is always the hardest part. And the reason why the questions are the hardest part because it's random. You don't know what questions you're going to get. With the hazard perception, once you know what a hazard is, all you got to do is spot it. It doesn't change. Yes, there's different hazard in different videos, but it's still going to cause you to slow down. It's still going to cause you to change direction. Whereas the question, you just don't know what questions you're going to get. And you may get quite a lot of questions that you definitely haven't seen before, where you may get 4 or 5 that you haven't seen before. And if you haven't seen it before, get the 4 or 5 wrong, you're still going to pass if you know the other 46. But if you get 4 or 5 or 8 or 9 questions you haven't seen before, you know you've got to get some of those 8 or 9 questions right. But hazard perception is hazard perception. Once you understand it, it's standard. So let me just catch up with these comments. I usually see them on the roads. I really do not know what they mean. Right, yeah, I just thought so. Asking for personal knowledge, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's hard for me to show you the signs because there's no images for the theory training. I've got that on in my iPad somewhere for driving lessons, but I ain't got it for theory because obviously it's not part of the theory training. But the clear air zones is more to do with the emissions. I don't know what part of the country you live, but for those of us, I live in Luton now, but not London anymore. But when I used to teach in London, you have certain zones that was clear air zones. So like lorries can't go down there because they're putting out too many fumes, or older cars that was back from 20 years ago can't go in there because they haven't got a catalytic converter. That's all it is. It's just saying this is a safe air zone space. These type of vehicles are allowed. So if you're going to put out too many fumes, older lorries, older cars, you can't do that. So it's like the congestion charge, if that makes sense. Back in the day, I don't know, I think it's changed now. Electric cars, because it's electric, was free to go in the Ulis zone because it's clean. and older cars have to pay to go in those congestion charge zones because the ULEs, the fumes they're putting out, they're paying for that price. So I hope that makes sense with that. So for those of you who live in London, ULEs is that. It's similar like clear air zone. If you put out too many fumes, I'll give you an example. My car is ULEs because it's the latest model of a Peugeot. So when I go down to London congestion charge zone, I don't pay ULEs. My wife goes down to London. She's got to pay. She's driving her car because her car's diesel and it's older, so she has to pay ULEs. It's just that her car puts out a lot more fumes than obviously my car. So it's along those lines. So hopefully that makes sense. But I repeat, it's not a fairy test question, so don't stress over it too much. I'm trying to find the rest of the comments here. I figured that's what you meant, but it was right after the time or date or whatever it was you put. Yeah, 47 out of 75 is a low hazard perception score. Again, it's just the teacher in me. You passed it, so congratulations. It doesn't really matter because a pass is a pass, but your hazard perception will improve with your driving anyway, because like I said, the click is you checking the mirrors on your hazard perception. So when you're doing your driving, you're going to be checking the mirrors. So that improves automatically anyway, because if it doesn't, you're going to get penalised on your mirrors on the driving test, because the mirrors, as you just saw when I've done the driving test report sheet, is massive. It's 3 separate boxes. It's massive on the driving test. Nothing. There's nothing you can do. Unless you're in a vehicle that's not allowed in the zone. That's a different story. So if you're in an older vehicle, like I said, that's not allowed in that zone, then yeah, don't go in there. But if you've got a newer vehicle, then there's nothing to worry about. Your car's past it. It's like I say, when I go down to London, I don't bother about ULEZ. I can drive anywhere in London. It doesn't really bother me because my car is ULEZ friendly. Whereas my wife, if she goes in the ULEZ, she's allowed in the ULEZ, but she's paying for that privilege because her car puts out a lot more fumes at the back than I do. Faith, you're welcome with that. It's funny because I'm literally, once I did a live session with my students, I'm going to make a video about signalling at the roundabouts, because I'm getting a lot on the training. So I thought to myself, I'm going to just tackle that question and do a video on that. So literally after the study camp, I'll be writing the script for that. But yeah, the roundabouts, it's very simple. I'll tell you what, I'll even show it to you. So you get a heads up. I had a video will come out. Let me get rid of this. Like I said, this is why we go live, because I can actually answer the question personal to you. Right, so let me get rid of this. Roundabouts. When they are talking about roundabouts, by the way, they are talking about big roundabouts. So how should you signal a big roundabout? This is a mini roundabout. The reason being, when you go to mini roundabouts, you don't signal to come off a mini roundabout because it's too small, too tight. They're talking about big roundabouts. So again, this is why I say take driving lessons. It makes life a lot easier. So if you're going to go left at the roundabout, you signal left. So the blue cars just literally signal left. So it's got a left signal on because you're turning left. You're turning right at the roundabout, you signal right. There's only 3 signals on the car. There's turning left, turning right, and brake lights. That's the only 3 signals. Turning left, turning right, brake light says you're slowing down. There is no signal for straight. So you're turning right at the roundabout, as you can see, it's a right signal. And then when you pass exit, you no longer need your signal left to come off. Now, the reason why they asked the question about roundabouts for the ferry test, because it matters. So the blue car's going straight ahead. There is no signal for straight, so no signal required. And when it passes the exit, it no longer needs, it will signal left before leaving. So that's how you signal at a roundabout. I repeat, let me just do that again so you can see it. No signal on approach. And then when you pass exit, you no longer need, you signal before leaving the roundabout. So hopefully that makes sense now. But I will be doing a video or making a video later on today. What else have you got on there? Miss White's, I'm new. Welcome then. First of all, I'm new to your lives. You have helped me with. Thank you, Doran. I'm in the UK, bro. I'm not understanding why that statement is I'm in the UK, unless I missed one of your other comments. So let me go back to Miss White. And this is why I'm going to make the video that I was talking about. Let me just read the comment and I'll tell you why. Hi, I'm new to your lives. You've helped me with all your videos, but how come I keep passing my hazard perception, but then fail my multiple choice? I've done it 6 times now and keep switching, something fell. And the reason why, and this is what I'm seeing inside cam, this is what I'm going to make the video. The video will explain more. The apps aren't designed to show you different questions. What you guys are doing, the app is giving you false hope. And let me quickly explain this. You take a 50 question mock test and you get 42 questions right. So that means you've got 8 questions wrong. So what you guys tend to do is take another mock test straight afterwards. The app is not designed to show you 50 different questions. What the app is going to do is show you the 8 questions you got wrong. So because you've done it 5 minutes earlier, you should be getting at least the majority of those questions right. So now you got a 48 or 49 on your mock test. So the brain now thinks, hold on a minute, I'm now learning, I'm now understanding. You not. You just memorized what you did 5 minutes ago. And that's what you keep doing, you keep doing, you keep doing. And then eventually you're getting 47s, 48s, 47s, 48s. But you haven't understood why you got the question wrong. You just remember what answer was correct. There's a difference in terms of learning. So now when you go for the real test and the question's worded differently, the brain doesn't memorize what's there on the real test because it doesn't recognize it. That's why you're failing, because you didn't understand the question. And the way that, let me keep it in simple form, the way when I'm teaching in the car and I place it to my pupils, I teach very simple, very basic tasks, and then we build it up. So when I teach a student, I always say to them, I teach 2 plus 2 equals 4. 4 equals safety from the examiner's point of view. 2 plus 2 equals 4. 4 equals safety for the examiner. That's how you should be studying as well. Right. So now when my student becomes independent of me telling them what to do, they can do what they want. It just needs to lead to safety. If they decide to do 3 plus 1, they know that still equals 4. Still safe, they're passing their driving test. If they decide to do 4 plus 0, it still equals 4. They're still passing their driving test. They know they can do what they want as long as it lands in the context of 4. And that's what the theory test is. You guys are learning 2 plus 2 and memorizing that. When you go for the real test and it's worded differently, you don't recognize what 3 plus 1 is. And that's why you're failing this test. And I'm seeing that so often in the study camp. And that's the reason why I'm saying mock test after mock test is a bad thing. You do a mock test on Monday, you shouldn't do another one until Thursday. When you do a mock test Monday, do a mock test Tuesday, all you're doing is remembering what you did yesterday. And you shouldn't be forgetting what you did yesterday, because if you're forgetting what you did yesterday, there's a massive memory issue. But you may forget what you did on, do it on Thursday, you may forget, which means learning did not take place. And that's the reason why most of you that I'm seeing is failing, especially when you're passing mock test after mock test. So hopefully that makes sense. But like I said, I'll do a video with evidence in it as well. Actually live students with their what they did, and I'll show you how to break that down as well. But like I said, it's coming, but that's the reason why. Stop doing mock test after mock test. Do individual categories. That's the best way to go. Yes, I'll improve the hazard perception when I'm driving. Thank you. No problem, Patience. Sir, I need a personal class. I don't do personal class. I do a group session as in the study camp, but you can get personal help within the study camp. So let me come out of that. Can I take it personal? Like I said, I don't do personal. I do it study camp, and you can get personal help on the Wednesday, Sunday, and you have email support as well. So if you've got any issues, you can always email in and get advice there. But in terms of one-to-one, I don't do that anymore. I don't know what that means. I have something theory on Tuesday. Do you mean you got your theory test on Tuesday? Do you have any suggestion on how to revise the best? So my dyslexia is really struggling because you just, the way this is where you got empty. I don't know what that means. My brain is struggling. I have my theory test on Tuesday. If you mean you got your theory test on Tuesday, do you have any suggestions on how to revise the best? If your test is on Tuesday and you're looking to revise now, no, because there's cramming. I'm not into cramming. You should be ready for your test now, to be fair. What you should be doing, if your test on Tuesday, today's Sunday. If you was my student and you're looking to revise now, I would be massively concerned. The answer is no, because that's cramming. I don't do cramming. So I can't help you with that. Because if you're tested on Tuesday, you should be ready now. Just polish up any last bits and pieces that you may have struggled with. I got my test on Wednesday. Let me put this one up here. I wish you luck with it though on Tuesday, by the way. Let me just throw that in there. There we go. Got my test on Wednesday. I wish you luck with that, Maria, on Wednesday. No problem, you're welcome. Like I said, the apps are a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. And the more I've done this, and like I said, it's only really come to light when I've done the study camp, because I can now see how my students are studying, how they're spending their time, because the way the study camp works, they sign up to my account on Veritest Pro, and it shows me how long they studied for, what questions they're getting right, what questions they're getting wrong, and any other bits and pieces that they've done in there. And that's why we have the live review sessions on Wednesday and the live review sessions on Sunday, so I can talk to them personally about their account. But anyway, the point I'm making is the more and more I'm seeing it, the more and more reasons why you guys are failing it. And the apps don't give you the explanations that you guys need. It just gives you the highway code explanations. But you guys think doing mock test after mock test is a good thing. I used to think that a few years back. I used to think that do a mock test, because that's how we used to do it in the classroom. But the difference is when they did it in the classroom, they had driving lessons to follow, because it was an intense driving course over the week. So they'd done the theory and the driving, so the pass rate was high. But that clouded what I was seeing. Now I'm doing the study camp with the students, I'm working with the students. I'm seeing mock test is a bad thing when you're doing it, like I said, mock test back to back, day after day after day. The app is not designed to show you different questions. It's designed to show you the wrong answers you got previously. And you guys are memorizing. And I repeat, it's not deliberate. It's just the way the brain works. The brain remembers what it did wrong previously, but it's not understanding why it did it wrong, because you guys ain't learning the reasons why. And that's the reason why I'm seeing more failures after failures after failures. And it's only when I put that right with the students that they go on to pass the next attempt. But you guys don't have that, someone telling you that, or breaking down your studying, because it's just you. I've already been revising. Then if you're revising and your test is on Tuesday, there's not much more I can say to you. Just keep going. Depends on what score you've been getting. There's not much more you can do. I wouldn't change anything at this stage because it's too late. So what I would definitely do, I would do what's your test on Tuesday? Today's Sunday. At some point today, I would do a full mock test, or tomorrow, I would do a full mock test, because you need to train yourself to be mentally ready. And what I mean by that is do a 50 question mock test and then go into a hazard perception mock test. Don't take a break in between. Go off and do something. Do it as one package. And if you go into the apps, it allows you to do that. So once you've done your 50 question mock test, it takes you straight to the hazard perception. You want to train yourself to be mentally strong to do the two together without a break. But when you're doing that test, make sure you have the time to complete both. You're not doing it in between chores where you're stopping here, stopping there. It's got to be done with no interruption. Ideally, just you in a room, doors closed, and do it that way so you train yourself for the real day when you go for the test. That's what I do. That's why I said you should be ready now for the test, and that's what you start to. That's what I do with my students. I make sure they're ready a week to 10 days before their theory test, and we just polish up any other bits and pieces, and then we do a full mock test just to make sure they're mentally strong when they go for the real test. I haven't go for the theory, but I plan to do so. If I'm ready, I want to practice with you. I haven't. You mean gone for my theory, but I plan to do so. If I'm ready, I want to practice with you. If you're ready, why are you practicing with me? Does that make sense? What my job is and what the study camp is to help people who are struggling to study on their own, whether it's lack of motivation, whatever it is, whether they've failed their theory test 3, 4, 5, 6 times. I've got someone in there failed 8 times. That's what it's for. So if you are ready to take your theory test, then you don't need me. You're ready. My job is to rescue people who are struggling to pass their theory test. That's what my job is. But if that's what you want, anyway, I'm not going to stop you. But I'll just let you know the study camp isn't for someone who's ready to pass their theory test. It's to help people who are struggling and who have taken the theory test X amount of times before, because obviously you're doing something wrong. I find that out what the wrong is and I put that right, and then hopefully you pass on the next attempt. I'm struggling with perception of passing through a test only. If you're struggling with hazard perception, first thing, what are you struggling with? Are you doing a 2-click method? Do you know what a hazard is? Those are the questions I'll be asking if it's my student. So those are the ones you need to answer. What you're struggling with, because a struggle is a struggle. Do you know what a hazard is? A hazard is anything that's going to cause you to slow down or change direction. And how many times you click in per problem. I don't know what you mean by time on Wednesday. Or maybe that comment's not for me. Have two left on my test. But again, I have two left on my test. Any advice? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I always fail by 1 mark. The reason why you fail by 1 mark is exactly what I just said earlier on, because you are not understanding the answers, and the other one is because you keep telling yourself I failed by 1 mark. I've done a video on this one as well. When you tell your brain that you've only failed by 1 mark, you study just to get the 1 more mark to pass. That's not the way to be. If you fail by 1, it means you're getting 42 out of 50. That means you got 8 questions wrong. That's the issue. You need to correct the 8 questions. If you go think about it, it's random tests. So if you study just enough to get 1 more mark and the question changes and you haven't learned why you got the 8 questions wrong, if those 8 questions come up in the same similar categories, the mark stays the same. That's why you're not improving, because the understanding in those 8 categories is still wrong. You need to understand the categories you got the questions wrong in, understand the questions you got wrong. That's how you improve, and you aim for 50 out of 50. I'm not saying you're not aiming for 50 out of 50, but your answer there, which everyone puts, not just you, by the way, I've missed it by just by 1. That's why you book another one and go for it, and then realize, well, I failed by 1 again. What am I doing wrong? You got 8 questions wrong. Study to get 50 out of 50, but correct the 8 questions first. So if those questions come up again, you're not making the same 8 mistakes. That's the way to think. As I said earlier on, most of you, and the ones that I've come in contact with, again, the study camp, this is why I can say what I'm saying, because I've got factual evidence. You are studying the theory test to pass the theory test. It sounds stupid because you think, yeah, but I'm studying to pass it. You need to study to understand it. That's the difference. You're not studying to pass it. You're studying to understand it, because if you're understanding it, you're going to pass anyway. There's a subtle difference, very subtle. Studying to pass, studying to understand. If you're studying to pass and the questions and things you studied does not come up, you are going to fail. If you study to understand it, if the things you studied and understood doesn't come up, you're still going to pass, because when they reword the question in any different categories, your understanding will still be there. So you are going to pass. It's similar to what I said. 2 plus 2 equals 4. 3 plus 1 still equals 4. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4. It doesn't make a difference how they reword it. Your understanding is always going to be there, which means you're always going to pass. If you study to pass it, you're technically memorizing stuff that you did previously, and that's the issue. How did the official DVSA? I did the official DVSA twice and passed for 50, 60, 75. I need to wait ages for a test, but you passed it. That's the most important thing. Without that, you can't book a test. So you're in a position to look on the DVSA website for driving tests any point. Go tomorrow morning, 10 to 6, 5 to 6 a.m. Log on, be ready with your details. They release new test dates every Monday morning. You may need to do that 3-4 weeks running, and hopefully you can pick up one, because everybody knows about it now. So everyone's on there at the same time. Just quickest fingers win. So that's one way of doing it. And just check the DVSA website, different times of the day, morning, noon, night, and hopefully you'll pick up a cancellation. That's the best way to go. But yeah, you did the official app twice. It worked for you. Like I said, everybody learns differently. But in my experience, especially during the study camp, people are failing because the way they're studying is not structured, and the lack of understanding of certain words, certain phrases and stuff like that. Could we do multiple choice to see how far we all are? Not with me on here, because it doesn't work. I try to explain the questions. I try to explain the answers. Multiple choice is 50 questions, 57 minutes. If I did that, I'm going to run out of 57 minutes. So it wouldn't be possible to do that. But and everyone learns differently, like I said. So doing a multiple choice wouldn't help. The whole point of the live sessions is try to get the point across to you guys. Need to study to understand, and I can go whatever questions pop up, because I have no control over the questions. I try to give you some background information with that, and I'm trying to encourage and motivate you guys to go and source your information. So if someone asks, for example, on here, what is a curb, which is a good question. As simple as it is, it's a good question. If you don't know what a curb is, you're always guessing what the answer is. And those are the type of things, if you don't understand the words. I had someone in my camp email me the list of questions that she emailed me yesterday, which I haven't gone around to answering yet. I'm hoping she turns up today. But anyway, the point is, one of them was, what does accelerate mean? And all accelerate means go fast. It's the way they use the words. When we, as instructors, we don't say accelerate, we just use the gas pedal. But accelerate, just go faster. It's simple stuff. To me, it's simple because I'm a driving instructor. I do this every. To you guys, it could be a complex thing. Simple word, but complex. And that's the thing I don't take for granted with my students. I must say, I'm not sitting there thinking, well, it's a simple word. Why are you stupid? How come you don't know it? Because everybody's brain works differently. And that's the thing that you guys don't have, like me, to explain and break it down. You just see a word, you don't understand it. You need to source that information. Just go the extra mile, Google it, AI it, and everything. Because rather than thinking, well, I don't know what this means, but I know the answer means this. Because like I said, they word it differently, you're going to struggle. I think we had one question, allow the cyclist more space. And then someone put on here that on their test, the real test, it was pass widely. That's enough to throw you if you're looking for allow more space. Because passing widely sounds totally different from allow more space. Because widely suggests you're too far on the other side of the road. So like I said, everybody's brain works differently. You have to find a way for you to study, but you don't have me to guide you down that route. So you have to find what's best for you. And sometimes just taking a little bit extra time, Googling AI, That's not cheating because you're studying. The whole point of studying is to improve. So use the tools to help you improve. But sometimes you guys think that's too much, that's cheating, blah, blah, blah. It's not. I think I've done that one. I passed my theory test since October last year. I haven't yet passed my practical. Your videos helped me. Thank you for coming to the session though. October. And you haven't done your practical yet. That's fine. Because you passed in October, November, December, May, 7 months. You haven't done your practical yet, so just got to find a date. But you got another 18 months, or give or take, whatever it is, to pass in time. So don't stress over it. The main thing, you've done the hard work of passing the theory test. Now you're taking driving lessons. Just keep chugging along. Just don't stop taking driving lessons, though. That's the thing. Just keep going until you pass your driving test. All right, that's the last one I see on here for now. I know I went on and on about talking about the test and everything else, but like I said, I'm seeing it a lot more, and the more I'm seeing it, in terms of the information I'm getting with the WhatsApps that I'm getting and the emails, why am I failing, passing mock test? That's the common reason, but unfortunately the apps don't do that. It's actually hindering you guys to a certain point. It's helping, and it's good that the apps are there, but the way you're using it, it's almost like a crutch. The question there, answers there, I got it wrong, I know what the right answer is now, rather than I fully understand. So yeah, I'll keep doing the lives, I'll keep making the video. I'm going back to making videos. As I said, after the study camp today, I'll put some videos together and film those to go out over the next couple of weeks. I've done my practical twice. It was unsuccessful. Keep going. You've done it twice. That's life. Like I said, some people pass their theory test first time, fail the driving test 3 or 4 times. Some people pass the driving test first time but fail the theory test 3 or 4 times. The thing is, you're doing it, but you can't give up at this point. And every time you take the test, you're getting an understanding of how it works. And also, you've got the driving test report sheet, and it breaks it down. So hopefully you're not making the same mistakes, it's just different mistakes. But you'll get there. Just keep going. Just keep going. I've had students do like that before, so don't... it's disheartening, and I know, and the waiting time's long. But what can you do? The main thing is you're active doing it, rather than sitting back and say, I'm scared to take a test. You've taken one, you've been brave. Just keep going. You'll get there in the end, as long as you keep going. But I wish you luck with the next one. All right, I'm going to sign off there, and then wish you guys a enjoyable Sunday. Stay safe, regardless of what you do. For those of you who've got a test coming up this week, I wish you the best of luck with that. Please come back next Sunday and let me know how you got on. It's good to know one way or the other with that. But stay safe regardless. And I shall see you next Sunday. Take care.